right, so we are back on the live. I'm gonna wait until we get a few more people on here. We had some technical difficulties, but we should be back pretty well in a minute. So I'm gonna wait for a few more people to hop on. Okay, so far we have one person on. Hi, welcome back. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. Just waiting. Miss Yolanda, don't be talking about my pants. My leg. Shoot, I don't see nobody else out here. Anyway.
When they made the decision that I'm not going in the back and spending my money, I'm going to shop with the people with the McKay. We had butchers. We had boutiques. We had stores. I'm going to shop with those people that out there close down. Wow. See, the thing is, we didn't teach the people that was coming in.
You have to pass down the tradition.
So therefore,
you all
don't know. So, but then you have the poor black people that live out in the county area. A lot of people don't know that Shorter was Cross Keys, Alabama, until 1980.
I didn't know that.
That's when it became time. My folks from down there, we have very much. They was unpaid. What they're classified as on the census in the 40s was unpaid family workers. And what that means is,
Sorry, y'all. I know we ain't supposed to be scooting in, y'all, but
what that means is they work for families for their food.
Gonna be able to hear?
I think so. Can y'all hear us?
Their food, their land, and things like that.
Hey, Miss Leslie, I see you too. Okay.
They were looked at differently by their own people. So that's what costs.
Right. Light skin versus dark skin.
Down the street versus in the middle.
Okay. They would only hire mulattoes.
All right, guys. So we're back.
Okay.
Back on live. Welcome back. And so I had some issues, y'all, with the phone, so I'm gonna stay down here and just kind of move it a little bit. We can't do it the long view, unfortunately.
I can restate the question as well.
Okay, audio's good. Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Yes, Kayla, sorry, y'all. We're gonna restart that question.
Okay. So the question that I had was concerning the sanitation workers. I know that they had a peaceful protest downtown, and we basically wanted to see your stance on that. Maybe if you can use your FIT platform to show us how you would basically show us your stance on the sanitation workers and their pay and PPE.
Okay, so like I was stating previously, I don't know all the details of what's going on. They're still having to work through that. But just based off what maybe the workers or off their concerns, if you just listen to them, their thing was they're not being treated fairly. There goes your fairness. They're not respected. Integrity. Transparency, no one probably told them anything. I'm not entirely sure. I only know what information was given to me. But as before the video went out, as I was saying, we in the community, yes, we want to support whatever they decide, but we also have to remember that we're still dealing with coronavirus. Okay? So whomever go out there to join them, please make sure you have your mask on. I know it may look weird trying to protest 6 feet apart,
Hey,
but
no,
you
we
have
in a
to,
pandemic,
but you have to stay your distance, or you have to come up with a creative way to be supportive of them. Because here again, you got everybody that wants to support them, but you're now in a situation where you're in a large gathering.
Yes.
So not only is their safety a concern and what they have to go through with their families and the situation that they're going through, the people in the community safety is a concern too. So we have to be cognizant and aware of that before we decide how we're going to move or what plan of action we're going to take. We have to make sure we look at our situation too, because we don't want to forget that we're still dealing with coronavirus. Because it's like, yes, I'm outraged, I want to do something, but you completely forgot that we're not in the same space and time. There is no going back to normal for a while.
Ever.
You know, so all of the things that we used to do, including a protest, everything it has got to be looked at differently, because now you have to figure out what to do with your displaced anger, because your first mind tells you, I'm going out there.
Just like in Minneapolis.
But nobody's mind said, hey, I'm going out there, let me grab a mask. They didn't stop and say, you know, of course I've seen some people, you know, with the mask on and everything, they're cognizant of that. But when you're dealing with something emotionally, your thought process, they'll say, hey, let me go get this. And so we have to be aware of ourselves and the responsibility that we hold to ourselves, as well as the responsibility that we hold to those guys that are out there.
I'd like to interject.
Because here again, they still have to meet. I'm sorry.
No, go
they
ahead.
still have to meet with leadership if they have not already. But we have to be cognizant, no matter what season it is. Leadership, those are people too, and we have to be cognizant that they're going to be in there, whether they're spaced out. They have to be protected as well, whether you're for a person or not for a person. We're all in this together, and we all have to look at it in a different way. That yes, I want you to come in here, I want to meet with you, I want to hear your problems. Let's see how can we all look at this, because we all in contact with one another, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And I'm over here, y'all. So just, you know, this is a new normal that we live in. All of this is completely different. I had, you know, went out and supported some of the sanitation workers as well. But I was cognitive of the fact of grabbing a mask. And I just wanted to say that I think a lot of times, you know, just because this is something that we don't know what's going on, you know, and especially us, we millennials, like, you know, a lot of people I know are not about to pick up a mask and wear it. And, you know, to each his own with that. But I do think when it comes to, you know, just how we move overall, I guess, on a collective level, that we can't just think about ourselves. And so when I grab the mask, I don't even really grab it for me no more. I grab it because I know, because of others. And people can call it what they want, but, you know, so I just wanted to add on that. And thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay, so there's this philosophy. I played football, junior college, and here at Tuskegee, and we had this philosophy that, you know, you look good, you feel good, you play good. So the question is, how will we revitalize the external appearance of our community? So parks and recs, the lake, depleted housing, and the possible community.
Okay, we got the bell. Right. It's almost over.
I think one more thing.
So, yes, aesthetics is important. We have to look at housing, we have to look at beautification, and I'm gonna go back just a tad, and then I'm gonna jump forward to show you how it connects. Because I think educating the people so they can know how it works, then they'll know what is happening. Your public works department is responsible for sanitation, streets, and beautification. Natural. Okay? We have to look at how to make sure that department is staffed properly, to make sure that your grass is cut and your flowers are planted and you do have your mulch down and your trees are pruned. And we also have to look at that department. Are the workers picking up the trash? What's the schedule that is on? Do they have proper equipment to be able to pick the trash up? Then you have the portion of the public works department that's broken down in the other section, which is streets. Okay? Instead of going and patching the pothole, are they trained to adequately patch the pothole? Do we have equipment to do that? Are we just putting rocks in it and then washing away? Or are we looking at the cost as a are we looking at the cost that it takes to do a cold patch? Because if we continuously spend money patching, we've wasted a lot of money that we could have paid the whole street with.
Right.
So
Good
we
point.
have to look at that in totality. You see what I'm saying? You see how one relates to the other when it comes to your aesthetic on one end, as far as your grass being cut, flowers being kept, or whatever. That's the city portion. But also as a community, it's cross agency and interagency relationships. There are other organizations out here that would love to help with beautification. We have to figure out who are all of them. So everybody won't be working in silos and doing their own thing and run into someone else's project. And we have to figure out who's doing what, because that will help the city. Especially in the situation that we're in now, we have to look at the resources that we have. We have nonprofit organizations, we have fraternities, we have sororities, we have so many things, and so many people would like to help. We can help those guys, especially with the beautification portion, by assisting with the grass cutting and things like that. Look at liability. What does that liability look like if the city allows you to just go out there and they didn't know and you get hurt? Because that goes back to the trust factor and the honest factor, because you have to realize everybody's not trustworthy. Some people can go do things just to get a lawsuit. So you want to make sure that people are not just doing things to be vindictive, and you want to make sure that you're covered, they're covered, you know that they're out there, they're going to work on that date. But if we all work together, we can be able to do it. We can utilize that particular resource. I will take this summer, we worked with a bunch of people in the community to try to paint, cut grass, and pick up trash, and it was a lot of different organizations that came together to do that. So it's going to take every last one of us in the condition that we are in at this particular moment before we look at cost savings and finding the money to do it on our own as a city and things like that. All that goes back to the internal thing that I talked about earlier. But before we get all of that, we can all work together to figure out who are all your organizations. Who are they? How can they help? What can they bring to the table? How can we get this area clean enough so if you want to go to the park and do yoga, you can? What space would allow us to do that? Sometimes it only takes somebody just cutting the grass, and you can go out there and be in that space until we get other things taken care of. You see what I'm saying? So it's not going to just take the administration in the way we are now. It's going to take us all. It's going to take every last one of us to be able to do it. Not sit back and be like, what they doing out there? No, come out and help.
So I have a question.
Come on with it.
I've gone to a few different organizations, meetings, regular meetings throughout the past few years, and something that I noticed is that there may be some people that are at these meetings that there's other people doing productive, progressive things in the community, but it's like they never link up. So I guess my question is what is the best way you think to bridge this gap, this disconnect between these ideologies, so we can find common ground and get something done together? Like you said, how was it just not too long ago, the organizations getting together, cleaning up in the community, beautifying it. What happened to get those organizations together? And
we first of all, we gotta heal as a community first, because you can't get people engaged if you're not healed. Because I might not like this person or this organization, or this person or organization may not back this, and they can't set aside the feelings to do something productive for the great good. That's a community thing that we have to work on. But we need some type of database of who are the organizations. Me personally, I don't know them all. I don't. I would love to know.
I'd like to know.
And I've been, myself in meetings where they say, well, this org, I was like, oh, that's an organization. We need to know who they are, so we can figure out. We have to have a community calendar. If we had a community calendar to know who's who and what's what, we could be a little bit more effective. But also, developing a community calendar requires manpower, because it is not easy to maintain that type of calendar, and to be able to constantly be in contact with these people to know exactly what they're doing, when they're doing it, and how we can help, and how we can be of assistance. So that's pretty much what we have to. That's a start in the direction that we have to do. And we also have to be able, as organizations, to be able to ask our city, do you all need help? You should be able to ask that. And you should be able to get an honest response to say, yeah, what does that look like? Is that a mutual beneficial relationship where the citizens is working hand in hand with the city because they know what the circumstances and situation is? What does that look like? You have to see what that looks like. That's called utilizing your resources.
Right.
You're not going outside to get it from somewhere else. You're looking at what you have and who is willing to help you. So that's what we got to look at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yoga. Because I'm coming back to that when it's over.
Could I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Please.
I just feel like there was a key point when you talked about the organizations, and that could be a part of the division. So if they don't look at the bigger goal and saying that goal is bigger than the organization that I'm in, or that goal could help by just showing camaraderie with another organization, I feel like that could go further. I know Rise, they oftentimes work. Yes.
We, girl.
We
I do
always,
that too.
us Rise, Two-Step, Black Yoga, Black Power Yoga, like they all work together. That's how we all know each other, or at least we know someone that knows someone else, like friends of friends, because they work together and they came together on the idea of, oh, this is a bigger cause, or this is what the community needs. And because they're a part of the community and they listen to the community, they can actually feed the community what the soul needs. Because people sometimes look at the aesthetics, which is great, but you had also talked about the inside. If the inside is ugly, the outside is definitely going to reflect that sometime sooner or later. So I do believe that was great, like what you had talked about, the inside out. And with the aesthetics, we were just talking about how they like to come together in organizations, and they like to pick up trash, or they like to go running, which also I think just brings a spirit, like a vibe to the community, that we're out here, we're bringing like a transparency. It's like, okay, we're running. And I'm sure there's more ideas, because like you said, it's for us, by us. And so if yes, exactly. So if they need any of the ideas or any of the actions that need to be taken, we're also here to listen. And I get that same vibe from you, that your part of it is transparent, that you're here to listen and not just tell us what you want to give us. Like, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, check off my boxes, bam, I'm done.
I can't do that, because then that'll be what I want and not what you all want.
True.
And building a community is not about what I want. It's what people in the community want, what they feel that they're lacking. We in this community, we have seniors, and we have working class or middle age, or whatever you want to call them in the middle, and then you have your youth, and we have to all live in this place together. So we all have to figure out what works for everyone. Because what may work for seniors may not work for this group. What may work for this group may not work for that group. But somewhere in the middle, there is something that works for all of them. And when you talk about cleaning up the community, the older people show up
More than the younger.
They do.
I'm going to put that out there.
They really do.
Our elders, they show up, and they show up on time.
They show up and show out.
They get there before me. You know, I can say that. It's we.
The value. They value it more.
it's kind of like we think we have some type of privilege or something. I don't know.
I
But
think that we're free.
Yeah,
And our
no,
ancestors did all the work,
they
and we're
did all
good
that already.
now. We don't
You
have
know, so
to continue to pave the way. The road is
if you
done.
have,
the
if
road
you
is
have
not
them, because
nearly done.
I've seen plenty on my way to work. I've seen plenty of elders in the morning, and I have to be to work at 8, so I'm on the road at 7, picking up trash. Pleasant Spring, Highway 80. The sad thing about it, and I'm glad we're on live, and I know this kind of off, but I feel like the people need to know in the community is soon as the older people finish picking it up, we throw it right back out.
I know.
So all of the work that they've done in a day, from that morning, their work from about there to noon is gone.
But not just that day.
That week,
Centuries.
yeah. They come
You
out
get me?
there.
Like, they've been doing work for centuries, and look at what we're doing now. Just binge watching
We-
Netflix and drinking.
You know, so we can't
Not us,
depend
but
on we can't depend on
majority.
them to just fix it all the time. We gotta help them. Now for our elders, they have to let us in. But sometimes they don't let us in because we don't come at them in the right way. Not all of us,
Man.
but not all of us,
I
but
try.
some of us.
And I know
Not
what
all
you
of
mean.
us.
I just had to put it out there
But-
for live.
No, not all of us. But some of us, because you have to think, I had an elder to tell me, I need to know how you all communicate, younger people.
Yeah,
Elders
and that's
commu-
real.
Our elders communicate differently from the way
Right.
that we do. So what we think and see, oh, that's okay. In their mind, that's not, it's just a different time. So they need to know how to communicate with us, and we need to know how to communicate with them. Here again,
Yes, yes.
Communication.
we
Yeah,
can't just
I
say
love
we
that
want to
now.
get rid of the elder. No, we can't do that because they know the road. They know who, where, when, where, why, what time and place and space it
Library.
happened. And we can't push them to the side because they have everything that you need up here.
Yeah.
So we have to learn how to communicate with one another because that's the only way we're going to grow forward.
You have another question?
I
Go
do.
ahead. Go ahead.
Mine's is because you had talked about communication.
Mhm.
So I think of sometimes newspaper, emails, the calendars or whatnot. Is there any form of communication you would say you would use if you were elected, and if you were elected for a mayor, that you would use to the best of your knowledge?
Okay, we have a couple things because here again, you have to communicate with the entire community. Everybody needs to know what's going on. There are emergencies out here that people do not know about. There are certain platforms and things that we use that the elders do not use.
Right.
It's not a lot of them on Facebook. Even though you say I put this out there, it's not a lot of them on Facebook. They get their papers on Thursday, but you need to know how to meet the people where they are. So there are a couple options. First, we're going to talk about the basic options, and then I'll talk about the other plan, so to speak. Every morning, 100.7, our elders listen to that station from 6 to 10. It's been that way my whole life.
Wow.
I thought it was just DJ show.
No, that's later on in the afternoon.
Yeah, I thought it was just that one day.
Every morning
Oh wow.
from 6 to 10, our elders tune in to that local radio station. It plays their gospel. It gives them their word. It gets them started in the day. They have trivia for those of you out there who do not know about that station. It is the communicator
What's the
himself, 100.7.
100.7. Make sure you guys tune in.
They
Yes.
have like the older hymns, and
They have your
the
gospel.
older gospel.
They give you your Bible.
I'm gonna plug it in on my.
They give you your
It's on the
Bible
radio.
quizzes for today to see if you've been reading, and you can call in and participate to see if you know the answer.
Yep.
They listen to that channel
Competitive.
in the mornings from 6 a.m. to 10. people in the community, our youth, and if they do not know, you now know. So if you want to get something out, starting out until we develop the plan to progressively move forward. I know we do we're going to put it on our Instagram, we're going to put it on our Facebook, we're going to put it on our Twitter. They're not there. So they did not receive it.
Right.
Yep.
See, I go
You
on
need
booty
to-
rushes, but I don't know the
I don't know.
see,
That's what I was saying.
and then
Right,
you'll
I don't
go-
know that person.
Exactly. So they have a morning show, and then they have Booty Rush.
Right. So what's
And
the
then it
person's
comes-
name that's over
The
one?
communicator.
Oh,
No, I've heard that name
Sylvester
before.
McPhee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
all right.
Yes. And
That's
I
your
know
homeboy.
that because my parents sung gospel.
Maybe I'm tripping.
Oh,
With the dreads?
No, he don't have dreads. He don't have dreads. That's Patrick. That's
Pat Wallace.
That's Tuskegee.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that's my
Tuskegee. That's
homeboy.
Tuskegee University.
And I don't know him, so we got to talk
So
more.
Yeah. Okay.
that's
okay.
the first step. We're reaching your elders,
Right.
your paper, and that channel. Then you can start incorporating other things that they can get into. Like, I don't want to call it E911 because that's not what it is. We're not talking about emergency or whatever. I'm just talking about communication. There is a software company out there. I'm not going to call their name. I've been working with them that will set up mass generations of messages that need to go out to people. It'll take 60 seconds to do it. We have the pricing and everything for that, but the thing is, on the back end, you go into an internal problem. You have to but that creates a job because you have to have somebody to man
Monitor
that
that.
database. You have to have somebody to create that database
I like that.
to be able to
Yeah.
put people's information in. It has to be a situation where people can opt into that service, and that service will do a lot of different things, whether it's the manual way or the technology way, to get the information to the people in the public. So that means you're touching everyone.
No, I like that. Thank you.
I thought I was gonna be at my house. I whispered that.
That's good to know. Yes, I like that information. Thank you for answering my question.
No problem.
That's great. Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna go ahead and read off a little bit of what we have on the live, just so y'all know. So we're interactive here. Earlier we have people saying, "Hey everybody." Let's see. Audio is good. We have Miss Leslie Ann saying she liked what you were saying, Jamel. Be aware and be prepared. She also liked what you said, Corey. She said that's a wise observation by this young man. She also said, "Hey, Johnny's." And Jocelyn said, "Good question, Kayla." So yeah, we got some people. And if you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask, please feel free. If you'd like to join on the camera, but we don't have that much time. But if you think of any, please.
I could volunteer something for them. I know they want to know.
Okay.
They want to know about their house.
They want to know.
They
Okay.
want to know about their health care.
Right. Go ahead.
So those are interagency and here again cross-agency situations. Now, I know we have a problem with eyesores, abandoned houses, as you mentioned earlier, and dilapidated buildings and things like that. I feel like I didn't touch on that. I feel like I just touched on the beautification piece. I don't know if you all know that it is a high cost for a city to demolish a building if they already are restrained in funds. It could be a high cost to just demo a building.
Why? 20 grand.
Because you got pipes and infrastructure and everything.
And
You
then
don't want to
somebody has
just
to
go.
come
You don't want to
clean it
just
up.
go in knocking things down. You don't know if it's
It looks
gas.
easy.
You know, you don't want to.
I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that.
So a lot of
cities out of power.
right. So you don't want to go in and just knock down things or whatnot. And I know a lot of people is like, knock it down.
Right.
Knock it
Looks so
down.
easy.
We're tired of looking at it. Just knock
I
it
thought
down.
about that.
There are some other options that can be looked into. Oh, it's looking great.
No way.
Hey, family.
So there are some options that can be looked into, but here again, you have to think beyond we're just going to knock this down. We have a university here with a construction science and architectural facility. We gotta stop looking for the outside to come in and save us,
That's
and we
our
have to look in the inside to save us.
Right.
That means relationships have to be repaired and partnerships have to be made.
Definitely.
Because someone needs to be able to tell you whether that piece of property has good bones, and should we knock it down or put it back in productive use.
Yay.
So we gotta figure that out and what that looks like. Because if you can put it back in productive use, that can be put back onto the market for somebody to live in it or do business in it.
Right.
That's that.
But you have to, you have to see what it looks like. But not only just rebuild Tuskegee, your city can do that.
That's what
Your city can do that. You have to look at your ordinances.
and
to
I feel
see
like
what-
it kind of not that they can, but I almost feel like it's kind of their job to do that. Yes, no.
you have to look at the ordinances
Yeah.
and see what it says. Because we're in the state of Alabama, here it is, education, got to educate a person and let them know. They may not be able to do that per whatever the ordinance is. I don't know what it is. You know, I have to see it and look at it before I say, oh, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to. We're in the state of Alabama, and the Constitution of 1901 has 900 and some odd amendments to it. It's the only constitution in the whole United States that has that many amendments.
Alabama?
Yes.
They amended stuff all
So
the time.
the reason why I say that is when we look at major economic developments, depending on how major it is, you have to get permission from the state to do certain work in your municipality. That's not just Macon County, that's everybody. So we have to see what we have on the books and how that works. And if we can get that done, then it's possible. It's not possible, it's just work that goes into it. But we have to look at what that looks like.
Right.
But that will help your city not only bring revenue in, because you have to think about it. Even if the city put a lien on the property, they still take a loss if the property goes up for auction and somebody buys it. They don't recoup that money because it's an eyesore. So they're still losing. If they tear it down, they're losing. If it goes up and somebody buys it and they leaned on it, they lose it because they didn't recoup. So you have to look at all of that. But it does not mean it can't be done. You just have to have somebody to do it.
Can you touch on the opportunity zone for the people that don't know about it? And
Tuskegee University is not classified, but Auburn University, there we go. We only have portions of which is our corridors, our exits, that are classified as opportunity zones.
that's what they're building.
Um, yeah, but that is true. But it's certain portions of the exits that still requires a lot of money for a developer to come in here because we're rural infrastructure. That means things have to go up under the ground. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that we can afford to do that infrastructure because we are a rural area. But that's why we have to work together with resources that we have to be able to do what we need to do. We can put buildings and houses back into productive use. We got a university that has resources that's working with who you have. We have general contractors in the community.
We sure do. We have everything we need.
We have what we need. We have what we need.
If slaves did all of this,
We have
we
what
could
we need.
rebuild it.
Yes. So, and as far as healthcare is concerned, because that's the major issue for everyone, including myself. Before I moved back down here, healthcare wasn't that far away from me because I lived in Opelika for like 10 years. But when I moved here, I had to be rushed to the hospital, but I couldn't wait for the ambulance. So my fiance had to drive me. So that's a concern for me as well.
Me three.
But here again, it's not impossible. It's not impossible for us to have that. We have a school of nursing, and we have a VA hospital. We have vacant. We don't need to build.
We don't. We have plenty of buildings.
When people talk about healthcare, they say we want to build this. We don't need to build another facility. We have facilities. We don't have bodies. But also, people need to realize data goes into that. So we need somebody to do the data to tell us how many people are going to East Alabama from Tuskegee. How many
everybody.
people are going to Tallahassee from Tuskegee? How many people are going to Montgomery and surrounding areas for Tuskegee? Because we got to put those numbers in. So the federal government, when you look at funding, they'll say, oh, they have a need. Right now, you can't, we in the community can't show a need because we're going other places. So it's hurting us in a way. We know we need it, but if our data is walking out of the door and we go and say we need this funded, how can we, what can we hand them?
Nothing.
And the census is involved in that.
Yes.
We want money for these roads. We're tired of potholes and everything. We want to be able to drive our cars smoothly, but we as people also got to fill out the census because that's federal money that we need to get here. Now once we fill out the census, because census take care of your roads and infrastructure, your healthcare, your recreation, all these things. It's funded for all these things, and I think that we don't know in the community how important it
every
is.
10 years, right?
They do it every 10 years. If we don't do it now, we got 10 years to talk about what we don't have and try to figure it out until the 10 years up to get counted again. So being counted counts, but once you're counted and the money is available, representation counts, because you have to have someone to go and advocate for the money that you put your name by.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, y'all. I got 2 more questions. So the second to last question that I have is, how do you feel about youth programs or the lack thereof in this community, in our community, and do you aim to change this? If you see, do you aim to change it, whether it's enough or if it's not enough?
It's not enough. We have youth programs. I think that's the communication issue because a lot of people don't know about the programs, the ones that do have it.
Could you name off like one of them right now?
They have the cheerleading. Even though we don't have a Y, we still have with our Parks and Rec. They do have the cheerleading. They still have the football and the basketball for the kids. I don't know how the funding is going with that right now. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that they had it a couple of years ago. I donated so they can have for some uniforms or something. We can add to it. There were more programs when I was younger.
Did they have teen programs when you were younger here?
They did. They had after school programs. A lot of these things that I had, and I didn't have a whole lot, but a lot of those things are gone now. So my brother was a part of one. I don't know exactly what the program was called. I just know the lady's name because he used to get off her little bus every day, and her name was Miss Tig or whatever. And it was an after school program. I don't know if you guys knew about the youth town hall.
No, I didn't.
You didn't know?
As of recent?
I went.
They have, I think this is their second or third annual one. And if we know in the community about the youth town hall, it tells you the resources that we have here in the community, mental health resources. We have a few mentorship programs for our young black men in the community. But I think because of the communication factor, a lot of people in the community don't know about that when it takes place.
And that's what they usually say.
You can get in contact with the judge because if we start training them when they're young and put them in programs when they're young, we can kind of like cut back on the crime going forward in the future. It's hard to try to retrain. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's hard to try to retrain a person that already grew up and got their own mind and determined that I'm going to go and cause all type of chaos in the street because so now you have to kind of reel them in to try to do that. But if we catch them while they're growing up and get them, so we have to be open to adding more to what we already have, but also getting the community to know what we already have so they can know what's available and utilize those until we get forward.
What do you think the most important thing or the most important program?
The mentorship for our young black men.
Agreed.
Wow.
Agreed.
I'm just thinking of an organization here
Because
that I know
they
that does
focus
that.
on the wrong things.
I think for our young black men, because a lot of the time, a lot of the chaos that we hear, the shooting and things like
it's over respect.
And it's our young black men.
When there's 8 billion people in the world, there's 7.9 something that don't
Because-
respect you.
Yeah, and so, but we have
Learn
the
how to respect
and
yourself
we have the
love
statistics
yourself.
already stacked against
Then it
us
won't
for our
affect
young
you
black
if somebody
men
doesn't respect
that they won't make it to a certain age.
Yeah.
So we're already faced with that. You know, we had this discussion earlier about being an African American in this time. So I think mentoring them, getting with the sheriff to see what he has, getting with the judge to see what she has, so they don't have to be in her court.
Right.
Things like that. We really need to get them in. I don't care if it's sports. Go to the Parks and Recs director. He is always trying to find somebody to donate equipment or kids to be in the sports. But the problem with that is
Who is this?
Marquez.
Marquez, okay.
He's over Parks and Rec, and so he try to get kids to sign up, and then we have to help them with equipment because here again we have to look at the budget of these things and how much this stuff costs. So we have to work together to use what we already have, figure out what we already have, until we can create those other things that we want. It's possible. It's possible. Go ahead.
I do have a question, but I thought Kia was going to say.
I'm going to do the last question.
Okay.
So if you guys have any more questions, it would be a good time. to go
Mine
ahead.
was just stemming from what you had said, talking about the young men, because they are leaders, and if we could change their upbringing, maybe we could change their mindset, their thought process when it comes to making a personnel for themselves, making goals for themselves. But I know currently within the world, we are knowing that there are police brutality, and I just wanted to know if you had any inspirational or motivational quotes for the black men or the black women, the black community. And I know you gotta be tired because I'm avoiding social media because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to feel like getting teared up. I don't want to be emotionally attached at the moment. I know that I have to focus. I'm clocking in and out to work, so I know this might be a difficult question, but if you could answer it to the best of your knowledge.
A motivational quote.
Yes,
For our
motivational quote or inspiration.
And, you know,
What keeps
Yeah.
you going?
Maybe that's easier.
God,
Yes, amen. Yeah.
Allah, whoever you choose to believe in, your most high. Sometimes depending on that person and their religion, I want to be respectful, so
Right.
I always say get in tune with your star player. You know.
we just talked about that today.
Yeah. So you have to make sure you do that because
God is
we have got to be stronger than what we're already required to be.
Yes, we
And
do.
it
No.
is- It is
Can I-
hard.
Smarter. We need to be smarter, not stronger. I feel like we need to be smarter now.
We have to be both.
Okay, I think
We have
being
to-
strong.
But they want you to multiply that.
Right.
And you have to figure out how to get through this thing called life, being who we are, without breaking
Work on
down.
vulnerability, though.
You have to look at it and say, yeah, I'm tired, and walk on. But
Somebody agreed with you on that. Somebody disagreed.
you can't do that. We're looking at it every day. And that is why I said one of the things that we need is mentorship for our young black men. Parents are already having to have this conversation with their children already for the ones that are not troubled.
That's not a conversation that I'm trying to have, you know, when I become a parent.
Right.
I'm not trying to keep having these conversations that were had generation on top of generation on top of generation.
And
So, do want to add
embarrassing.
before you keep going. What I meant by I feel like we should be smarter. So, recently I lost my great grandmother, but she was 95, so don't say sorry. Let's celebrate.
she lived a wonderful
Right,
life.
wonderful life.
I think if I do yoga with him, I'm
Right, that's gonna be us, right? And if we take all of the herbs he be taking, but
That's CBOS.
that's Seaboss.
I mean, it's CBOS.
But yeah, so my little brother, he's 15, and he immediately said, "I have to be strong for everybody, so I don't want to cry." Yeah, and I'm like, no, it's okay to be vulnerable. We need to teach our men that they can be vulnerable too.
Never
You
seen a
know,
little brother
that they
cry.
can cry and it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let it out. You know, you don't always have to be strong because they feel like they can never be honest and transparent about how sad or
But that's
mad
not
they may be
that,
because they're always
in
trying
our,
to be
in
strong.
our community.
And to this,
Yeah, in our community, it's not just the men.
Right.
The women can't be vulnerable either.
Right.
They have to be strong. He got to be strong. We all walking around being strong. What will you get as a community done if everybody walking around here strong?
Lying
Nobody has anyone to lean
We
on.
have to stop lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
So if we don't have anybody to lean on, how are we going to work together to get something done? How are we going to merge? Everybody walking around here like this.
Closed off.
That's a part of healing. So, you know, we have a lot to do. Not just in Tuskegee. We got a lot to do in Tuskegee, and we all got to work together. But in this day and time, with everything that we have going on, we gotta all understand that we are in this together, and we are stronger and better and smarter together than we are separately. We'll go far if we go together.
Man, know that quote. You wanna go far, go together. If you wanna go quick, go alone.
So, and that's what we're gonna have to do.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I hope everybody likes that.
I'm ready to
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
I hope
I've been
that's
trying
what,
to
I
heal.
hope that's what the
I need help.
I hope that's what the community want to do, because we need a lot. We need jobs. We need better housing. We need better health care. We want a nice place to live. We want a safe place to live. We want better roads. We want better streets. We can go down the list of things that we want. And there are all types of transitional plans we can put together, and volunteer task force that we can put together that can handle this. But no one person can handle it by themselves.
Takes a village.
That's right.
I will not, as mayor, I would not be able to do it by myself.
Yeah.
Especially the form of government that we have. We have to have everybody that is willing to work together, put feelings aside, look at everything, and see what is best for everyone.
Yep, the collective.
And not for me, the eyes and the youth. A collective fit. We got to work together. If we don't, we will perish. Not just as a people, but as a community. Do you all know that y'all university is the only HBCU designated as a national historic site?
Yes, I'm proud of it.
You feel me?
I think people in the community
love our school.
need to know that.
Yes.
This school ain't
We have
going
a lot of
nowhere,
greatness
okay?
here and a lot
Ain't
of
going nowhere.
resources here.
And
And
they
we
should
need-
have
and we need to
honor
do that.
and
School ain't going
pride
nowhere.
to live here.
So
I would love to
if I'm elected,
make it more prideful.
I will do my very best to try to work with the people in the community. I will do my level best to try to create these transitional teams, volunteer transitional teams, to have collective minds in a room to work and solve a problem, because no one person has all of the answers. Everybody has a piece to the puzzle that will fix it. And if we do not designate this out and do it properly, it will not work. We have to have a viable plan to get to the next 5, 10, 20 years. And it takes time and strategy, and not just someone put something together and say, this is the plan, because it may not be what everybody wants.
I needed to hear that. I needed to hear
And
that.
honesty is more about the future than anything.
Yeah, so the goal is to go in and work internally to see how can we put these teams together and get these suggestions from these people in the community, whether it's email, whether it's a communication service, however it is that we need to do it, whether it's a Dropbox, and take take these suggestions seriously. Yes, there will be things that we cannot just say, yeah, we want this in our community. Everything that all money ain't good money.
Amen.
So just because they bring it to you doesn't necessarily mean
Most
that it's a
money
fit
ain't
for
good.
Tuskegee. Tuskegee needs to be.
Right.
Tuskegee does not need to be the next couple of cities and towns over.
It needs to be
It needs to be Tuskegee. And we have to see what that looks like. If we want yoga the way he does it, and we want all of the communities and the university programs that they have going together. Isn't that, what's his name? Beloved John. He's on our Facebook page.
She said
Yes, you know, we have to look at yoga and other fitness programs and being vegan.
Shout out to Brother Yahi.
Health challenges and
all the farmers.
Yeah, we have to look.
And all the farmers.
So, I know I'm going on, but I want people to know, in this time, we really need to take advantage of our agriculture.
Yes.
We are in a different time. We really, and we here in Tuskegee have farmers with land that grow food and teach you how to grow it and can it and store it. That's a resource that we need, especially when I got off a call. They said that the people in the United States are worried about how long we're going to have food.
I know. Okay.
So we need to get ready. I can't worry about everybody else's community and everybody else's city.
Right.
I can only worry about this one, and I know we need to get prepared and get ready. And if it starts with our food first, at least, since we don't have a hospital, at least we know what we're putting in our bodies and we can make better decisions.
And that's where it all starts.
So we gotta take this thing seriously. We gotta take everything on the tables seriously. We gotta look at roads. We gotta look at better housing. We gotta look at our buildings. Is it mold in it? What we have to look at. We have to look at everything. So I need people to understand that this fix is not going to be an overnight fix. This is going to be us constantly working at it until we get to where we're trying to go.
I agree.
Thank you. And I want to just go ahead and close with one last question.
Okay.
So as everybody, we were just kind of talking about this a little bit earlier this evening, the Twin Cities, you know, St. Paul and Minneapolis have been, there's been a lot of destruction there. Destruction before there was actual physical destruction there. But as a result of that non-physical destruction that's been brewing, we now have like we have a bunch of stuff going on. I've been seeing people on my timeline, friends of mine who are silent. They don't speak up about anything. Speak up about this and speak out. And so I guess not I guess, but I was, I saw the video this week, and I saw it and I was reactionary. I was pissed. I went online and I made a big old post. And one of my elders from Sacramento, California, shout out to Sacramento. One of my elders from Sacramento sent me a YouTube that I could send it to you guys if you guys would like. Sent me a YouTube of the ISIS papers by the late great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And he told me to look up chapter 15. So I began to read chapter 15. I just began to read. But either way, the way how the book started off, that page started off with Proverbs 22:1. And it said, where there is no vision, people will perish. So my question for you, and I'm glad that you touched on that, is do you have a 5-year plan for Tuskegee, or what would a 5-year plan for you look like? And a 5-year plan, when I ask that and talking to people who are listening too, is the most basic of plans, I feel like, when it comes to planning and to, you know, putting out what we need as a people. We need a 10-year plan. We need a 50-year plan. We need a 75 and a 100-year plan, which we can all get started on and help you with that. I don't know how, but I'm asking about a 5-year plan specifically because if your term is 4 years, then after that last year or that next year, you know, it should still be able to continue. So do you have a 5-year plan? And if so, what is that? Yes, we're doing an interview on Facebook Live for people who are running for municipal positions in Tuskegee.
Oh, who's running?
Miss Jamel.
Okay.
Okay, I put a face with a name.
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't know. I know the other two.
Yes, that's me.
Okay. We need to get our sanitation workers back to work.
I
That's all
know.
I'm saying.
I
got your bags
I
stacked.
got some trash that's been sitting out in front of my house. I know she's recording me. For 2 months.
Really?
Know how angry you are.
2
No,
months.
let them know. Let us know. That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I would have been.
Yes.
Oh,
2
That's
months.
actually unsanitary.
That's a lie.
It's a health
I
hazard.
got boxes and, because I'm trying to clean up around my house.
Mhm.
And usually they come around and all that, but they haven't been around. Sanitation workers, they should not have reached that point of
Yes, ma'am.
going on strike. Whatever they want, people, the sanitation workers in Los Angeles, they're one of the highest paid people. You
That's
know,
what I heard.
yes. And that should be here too. Give them what they need. Because we, I would say cuss word, we're not going to clean up that.
Okay, and that's real.
They're doing things we don't do.
Right.
We can't ask them to do something that, I
Exactly.
understand.
Exactly. On the Facebook one?
Yes.
Yes,
you are.
ma'am. Is there anything that you'd maybe like to ask, or a statement that you'd like to just say, being a community member here in Tuskegee, and also being on the campus, the illustrious campus of Tuskegee University?
Tuskegee University.
You know, you know, you know.
Okay, I would like to know, what are your plans to
She just asked me that question.
Right. You came at
Perfect,
the
perfect time.
bring Tuskegee up? Because we have a lot of abandoned buildings that historically, okay, they're good. The outside are good. Take a picture of it if it's historical. But let's move on. So what are your plans for downtown Tuskegee and getting an airport, if possible? Major thing is a hospital.
Talked
That's
about that.
number one. Because if we don't have the hospital, we have nothing. So what are your plans?
Okay. So, let's see. can
Thank
I-
you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, she is recording. You actually came at a good time. I was getting ready
Great
to
time.
tell her the vision, but to answer your question, I kind of touched on it earlier when it comes to the housing situation.
Okay.
We can't go and just knock down things because it's a high cost on the city level.
True.
So I explained that to the viewers.
Okay.
But there are options.
Right.
We have to, other than looking at the ordinances to see what they say, to try to enforce it on property owners, to make them, for the ones that you can find.
Right.
And also, we looked at, I discussed loss if someone decides to come and buy that particular piece of property. If the city was to put a lien on that property, that still would be revenue loss. But we need to look at options and plans of how to get these buildings and these facilities and these houses into productive use. So in order to do that, we need to go and look at what they have on the books to see if we can make that major decision. It's possible to put those facilities in, or houses into productive use and put them up for sale. And that will create, I know people hate affordable housing because they think of projects when you think about affordable housing, but it will be housing in a range where people in our community can afford, because the median income here is $30K. If you look at the data, so you don't want to go and sell a person a $200,000 or $300,000 home if they make it $35,000 a year. They're going to be house poor. So if we can develop that plan or come up with some type of task force or transitional team to see what all of that looks like, we could be able to create these homes as a city for the ones that are salvageable. Some you may have to knock down, but if they got good bones, we could be able to save those houses and maybe sell them for $50,000, $60,000 and have new homeowners or whatever that's here in the city. And that, you can take it by street if that's what you want to do. Pick a block and just go down the block until that block is complete. Because one thing that we do often as general contractor, real estate agents, city or whatever, we pick a house here, pick a house there, pick a house there, but there's no cohesiveness, so it don't look effective as a everything. So you need to go by street to see what's all on there, what all can be salvaged, see what that program looks like, get you a team of experts in there, work with them, develop that plan to put these buildings back in productive use. That will create jobs in itself because we have plenty of general contractors. You see what I'm saying? So the general contractors are at work. We have a hardware store that will create revenue for them because they got to go get supplies. Sure. We have a university here with an architecture and construction science program that will create internships with them where they can get hands-on experience instead of theory. Because sometimes the kids have a hard time getting a job because they don't have hands-on experience, they don't have book experience, and people don't want to take a chance on that. Exactly. So if you look at that program, us doing this collectively together in the community, you solved a lot of your problems just by trying to come up with one plan. You done put some people to work, you got some people in a nice house, you got some people with some interns, and you got some people working, and you got some revenue going to a couple of your jobs, to a couple of your businesses here that provide certain services. And you got money that's coming back into the city as well because you have to go through the permitting process to be able to be out there to build in the first place. So we have to look at how all of that works together and fits together. That's a collective thing. So we have to build these partnerships, rebuild relationships that were torn, and put them back together so people can trust us and say, okay, I will work with the city, or I will work with this agency or this. We have to do it together to be able to make sure that's effective. And that's the same thing that goes with our hospital. No, we don't need to build one. We got buildings. We need bodies. So we need to figure out which building we're going to put in use, whether it's one of the historic ones or whether it's one of the newer ones, what it looks like to look at our own nursing program that we have, what it looks like to possibly create some type of relationship that with other colleges that have students that's residencies or for rural areas for doctors, see what that looks like. And the housing, if you took care of the housing plan, they'll have somewhere to stay when they get here, because the problem is you create this, but where they're going to stay when they get here? We don't have nothing to put in. So a lot of people, they're like, okay, yeah, well, we'll come, but where we living? So we have to have something to be able to have them to live in once they get here. So we need bodies. And then here again, that's jobs for our students when they come out of nursing school. I have a classmate of mine who has a school for medical assistants in phlebotomy. She here in Tuskegee. They're certified when they finish her program. But when they finish their program and get and certified by the state, they take that knowledge out of the community to go to other doctor offices and hospitals to utilize that service they got, because we don't have a hospital. So we need to work with her school, because that's a trade. And I'm quite sure our Board of Education has some stuff in their career too. That's another agency you can work with. You're working with the university. That's 3 agencies. I'm quite sure out of 3 agencies, and we have a public health on the university that can collect our data to tell us what we need. Because sometimes we want these things and we need these things, but to the federal government, as far as funding, on paper, it don't look like we have a need, because we're always leaving out to get these things because we don't have it. So we need somebody to collect our data to be able to help us with funding. That's where, here again, our university play a part with helping us collect the data. Okay. So if we work with all our agencies and create that transitional team that I was telling you about, then we'll be able to get the things that we need by using what we already have, like get bodies to put in these facilities that's going to create jobs and also benefit the community as well when it comes to healthcare. I love the platform. Thank you.
Oh, you didn't even hear the platform. It's fit.
The platform, the platform is fit, and it's the 2 T's. It is fairness, integrity, transparency, and truth.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
Thank you for your question.
Well, I guess I don't have to answer the 5-year plan. I guess you halfway heard it.
Right.
Without,
I went here.
That's what I
Yep. Hey.
without all the details, I guess you guys heard it.
No, and we did. Thank you very much for that. I heard what you were saying, and I just looking at like what we do have as far as all the different things with public health being here and having our construction site here, and then having people here who are passionate and who are fit, FITT, fit, fair, integrity,
Transparency,
and
truth.
I think that's phenomenal, and Thank you very much. Do you guys have any other questions? And if not, Jamel, is there anything that you'd like to leave us off with as a community?
Well, I think you guys have heard enough from me today, but continue to follow me on Facebook and social media. The website is coming soon, and that will be posted on the social media page as well. McDade for Mayor.
McDade for Mayor on Facebook?
Yes, Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, McDade for Mayor.
Yes, and Twitter.
Mm-hmm. And Twitter, okay.
Yes, so you can do that. If you want to email me, you can email campaign@McDadeForMayor. Or if you want to support my platform, you can email me at support@McDadeForMayor. And I look forward to seeing you guys. It's me that will be knocking on your doors. I will step back with my mask on, and I may just give you a mask. And you guys have a great evening.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.